Welcome to Radiant Guidance. These are the temporal waves for March 2024. If you're new to my channel, my name is Molly. My astrology forecasts really focus on the planetary aspects throughout the month and the major alignments and themes. This is so it can be a more universal astrology, whether you identify more with the sidereal or tropical zodiac. However, I will make mention of both the tropical sign and the sidereal nakshatras because I feel we can get the best insight when we make note of both. Okay, all planets will be direct in March. April 1st to 24th, Mercury will go retrograde. Some astrologers use a 2-week window before and after retrograde to count into that kind of picture. So if you have an important project you want to launch and have a smooth sailing with, or say you have you want to buy a reliable car, ideally you would do that beginning to mid-March or after the retrograde in May, just for the best outcome with that. Do as you will, but keep in mind that retrograde periods in April, which it'll be, are better for the non-linear, reflective, and more creative, intuitive ways of connecting to thoughts and communication. Okay, so March 10th, we've got the new moon in Pisces. This is occurring in Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra in the sidereal system. So this new moon, as all new moons are a time of initiations, of setting a new intention. It's a very inward time during the dark moon, and this is duly noted because we've got the new moon in the very mystical nakshatra of Purva Bhadrapada. Now, Purva Bhadrapada is auspicious for anything that connects us to spirituality. It's the nakshatra that occurs where Aquarius turns into Pisces, and it's all about connecting to the occult, the mysterious, the intuition. And we do this through discipline, really. And this is noted because Saturn is conjoining this new moon. Purvabhadrapada goes to spirituality and attains spirituality through difficulty, actually. This nakshatra is my rising sign nakshatra, so I know a lot about its lessons. And one of its big lessons is developing structure and discipline. Otherwise, we can get lost in the chaos and boundarylessness of not having that. And yeah, it can really make your life devolve into chaos. So this could be a great day to start a new practice, connect more deeply with the practice you already have, and create some prioritization in your life. On March 25th, we've got the full moon in Libra. According to Tropical, this will be a Hasta Nakshatra full moon if you follow sidereal, and Hasta is the golden-handed. This is a lunar eclipse. So lunar eclipses are windows where we have potent endings and beginnings. Now, how do we know if it's a releasing or initiating eclipse? Well, you look at if the moon is sitting with the north or south node. This particular eclipse is with the south node, so it's going to be a potent, releasing, purging endings, time for people, for a lot of people. There will be strong emotional themes, most likely, perhaps clearing relational karma, issues around self-worth, because we've got Venus with Saturn also co-occurring in the sky. The trine to Pluto makes it a very purgative new moon. And look at where you have 5 degrees of Libra if you use a Western chart, or if you're using a Vedic chart, look at where you have 11 degrees of Virgo, and planets or angles that sit there will give you a greater idea of how this will affect you on a personal level. Mercury, Chiron, Neptune, and the Sun are all conjoined during this eclipse. So that kind of adds to the potent healing, releasing, transmuting energy. Keep in mind that whatever we do on an eclipse is magnified, you could say. So whether we're putting our actions towards good or we are going into debauchery will really get emphasized and could come back to us, because we have these echo chambers after eclipses, 3 months, 6 months later, where we see the kind of impacts of what that eclipse either opened up or released. So keep that in mind. This is why the ancients would not go out and view eclipses. They were actually very revered as being kind of ominous times and more for reflective things like prayer and going inward. So let's talk about Hasta, the nakshatra that this eclipse is taking place in. Hasta is all about the power of the hands. It's the golden handed. And hand gestures, mudras, carry immense power. By working with the nerve junctions within our hands, we can awaken latent areas of our soul. And this is why I feel like any hands-on healing, any precision work with your hands could be nice activities to do during this eclipse. Maybe it's a time where you practice some mudras and have a lot of gratitude and be very mindful of how you're spending this day. I've noticed in my personal life, I had a relationship start on an eclipse, and it was a very challenging relationship. This is because eclipses can obscure our vision. And so they're not the most auspicious times to start things. Let's talk about the planetary energies, the major conjunctions and aspects for March. Jupiter conjoins Uranus for March. This has been going on, this aspect. And Jupiter is the planet of expansion, Uranus, innovation. This is where we're seeing a lot of advancements in technology. It's also about groups of people organizing under similar belief systems. We also have Mars squaring Uranus. This is a more tumultuous aspect. We've got the planet of warfare, aggression, and action squaring the planet of sudden changes and shock. Mars square Uranus can definitely be a signature for accidents, so keep that in mind. Time and time again in my practice, I've noticed people who've had very life-altering accidents, there has been either Uranus squaring their natal Mars or transiting Mars squaring their Uranus. So it's just a great time to exercise more mindfulness. And caution, think before you do. Mars conjoins Venus this month as well, which is emphasizing balancing the passive and active forces within us. Let's go over the days of intensity. Now, my days of intensity have a lot to do with if there's more stressful alignments going on in the sky, particularly via the moon, because the moon is what moves the quickest. So take it with a grain of salt. I think it was the Dalai Lama who would he would go travel under the worst transits just to, I guess, make a point that you can be grounded and centered through it all. But if you work with the public, it's good to know. It's good to have a pulse on what these collective moods will really be. But you do you, Guru. On March 6th, we've got Moon with Pluto. Moon Pluto days can just be more like emotions from deep under the surface bubbling up. We've got the moon squaring Jupiter and Uranus. On March 7th, we've got a Moon Mars conjunction squaring Uranus. This is an accident alert day just because that moon is emphasizing that Mars Uranus square. On March 12th, we've got the moon squaring Pluto, Venus conjoining Saturn. This could be a day where people get in little arguments over relational issues with the Venus Saturn conjunction and moon squaring Pluto, perhaps misunderstandings. On the 13th, we've got a moon with Jupiter and Uranus squaring Mars. Again, that Mars-Uranus square is being emphasized by the placement of the moon. On March 19th, we've got the moon opposite Pluto squaring Jupiter and Uranus. And then on the 26th, the moon is opposite Mercury squaring Pluto. Let's get into our days of harmony. These are days of extra flow. And so if you work with the public, if you teach, if you have an event you're planning, these could be extra special days for that. And the nakshatras illuminate what these days are auspicious for. So on March 4th, we've got Mercury sextiling Uranus. This is a very inspirational, mentally stimulating aspect. The moon is also sextiling Saturn, giving us the ability to create structure or bring things into tangible form. And it's a Mula moon, trining Jupiter. Mula is a nakshatra known for speaking, anything involving the voice, and also administering medicines, herbal medicines, healing work. On March 8th, we've got a Shatabisha moon conjunct Venus, sextiling Jupiter. Shatabisha is the nakshatra of 100 healers. It's very good for any sort of healing work, but also anything involving media and technology. So if you wanted to launch something online, this could be a good day for that. On March 9th, we've got the moon in Purva Bhadrapada and Venus sextiling Jupiter. This is coming into that new moon energy. Again, it's good for those inward, intuitive meditation, breath work, any sort of practice that's connecting you to your intuition, your inner knowing, your higher self. Then we've got the 10th, because the new moon's in that really early morning on the 10th, later in the day, the moon will be in Uttara Bhadrapada, conjunct Mercury and Neptune. So at this point, we're entering into a nakshatra that's great for marriage, sexuality, transactions, and business dealings. On March 16th, we've got a Mrigashira moon trining Mars, Venus, and Saturn. Venus and Saturn are also sextiling Jupiter and Uranus. So this day is really good for any social activities, networking, any creative and self-expressive activities. On March 22nd, we have a Purva Falguni moon opposite Venus trining Jupiter. Purva Falguni is known for dealing with authorities, maybe asking for favors from those in power. It's also great for making a purchase like a home or property. Keep in mind, though, we are in the pre-shadow on 22nd. But again, follow your own guidance with that. On March 29th, we've got a Shatabisha moon conjunct Venus, sextiling Jupiter. And as I'd mentioned before, Shatabisha is really good for media, anything with technology, the internet, working with groups, working with any sort of healing modality as well. So that's my temporal waves for March. If you have questions, comment below. If you would like more personalized transit readings, I offer those. If you found this helpful in any way, shape, or form, please like, subscribe, or share the video. Wishing you a beautiful month ahead. Thank you. Bye.